when I'm nothing but fine white dust and jagged shards, and even then, she won't release me. My thoughts scatter like faraway stars, but all I can think is that her bloodless, blue-tinged skin is a beautiful contrast to the scarlet running down her throat. She is the first bright light of morning that slices across the horizon, peeling it open. She is my Empress. And then, at last, she dies. Not because she is weak or because I've truly defeated her, but because she made me a promise. Wherever you run, I am already there waiting for you. A resurrection alchemist should not fear death. But now I do. Because I know that on the day that I die and wake up in the river of souls, the first thing I see will be a pair of bright, golden eyes. Chapter 1. Year 775, Lanzhou, China. My brother and I were very good at pretending we weren't dead. Out in the desert, the harsh sun pulled redness to our cheeks and drew sweat from our skin. We gasped down breaths like we'd nearly drowned and had only just clawed our way to the surface of this golden sea. A convincing imitation of life, in my opinion. I worried a bit that people might recognize us as the Crown Prince and the last royal alchemist, but I didn't worry that anyone suspected we were reanimated corpses. The ground whispered with snakes, the pat-pat-pat of tiny rodent footsteps, the sigh of sand dunes shifting slowly in the distance. The sky was the color of parchment, choked with sand. In the north, they called this desert the borderless sea. The dunes around us swayed, the desert alive and flowing as much as any ocean I'd ever seen, though it could have been an illusion from the heat waves, or my slowly melting brain. All I knew was that I'd once stuck my hand inside my uncle's kiln back in Guangzhou and felt heat that I was sure would boil my skin right off. This heat was like I'd stepped fully inside of the kiln and locked the door behind me. Wenshu and I had left the palace in Chang'an a week ago on horseback, but we'd reached a part of the world so parched that it would have been cruel to bring horses any farther. Their hooves would sink into the heavy sand like mud. We'd sold them in Lanzhou for an amount of gold that we once would have marveled at, but now it was only added weight in our bags that I briefly considered dumping in the desert. But even this relentless heat was better than staying at the palace in Chang'an. In the weeks since the other alchemists had died, I'd hardly slept. Whenever I lay down at night, shadows flickered just past my windows, shivering away when I opened the door. Whispers slipped through the cracks in the wood-paneled walls, entered through the keyhole, contorted themselves to the diamond shape of my lattice windows to slither through and invade my dreams. And at every turn, my sister, Yu Fei, was there, wearing the Empress's face. She asked me about dinner, and scolded my brother in the same voice that had once told me, unflinchingly, that she'd burned my siblings alive. Even though Wenshu was borrowing the Crown Prince's body, I never once forgot that he was Wenshu. But for some reason, the Empress's golden eyes haunted me, even though I knew Yu Fei was the one behind them. Maybe it was because I'd killed the Empress, sacrificed my body and my betrothed to make sure she was dead, and yet she was still strolling around the palace, asking for roasted chicken at all hours of the night. The Empress's death, of course, had become one of the palace's many secrets. As long as her body was walking around, she was alive, as far as the public was concerned. In many ways, it was like I had never killed her at all. Maybe that was the problem. I hadn't truly felt like I could breathe until I'd left the palace with Wenshu, and the gates of Chang'an were a tiny golden sparkle on the distant horizon. The city that was once my greatest dream had swiftly become my nightmare. Wenshu had found us thin white cloaks with wide hoods to protect us from the sun, so the two of us swept across the desert like ghosts, our footprints quickly erased by the constant song of shifting sand around us, as if we'd never really existed. There was someone out here who could help us, but he didn't like to be found. "Quit kicking up sandstorms behind you with your giant feet," Wenshu said.